right, welcome to the second review of the evening, Earth Atlantis. This one's been a long time coming. As well, Earth Atlantis isn't strictly speaking a new game. No, it's actually been floating around for a couple of years now, debuting on the Nintendo Switch in late 2017, if I'm remembering correctly. In fact, I think we had Head Up Games on the program talking about it at one point.
I believe we did.
Yes. Earth Atlantis has made journeys to other platforms since then, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, even the iOS. And finally, it has reached the PC via Steam. And Twilight Winter will be handling this review since, well, it was kind of his turn. Since, if you've noticed in recent weeks, Galix has handled some reviews, although that's because he's our Nintendo Switch reviewer for the time being, and even Petty did a review last week. So it was, it's kind of, he hasn't done one since what? Idea
Mega Dimension Neptunia.
Yeah, I would have liked to have picked this up on the Switch, but I wasn't able to.
Yeah, and I think that this came out before you had a Switch. So. Hence why we're covering it now. Anyway, Twilight, take it away.
All right. Well then, Earth Atlantis is, at best to put, a mix of shmup and Metroidvania. And as works, it's set on a post-apocalyptic Earth where the ocean has claimed human civilization and the land we once lived on.
How far-fetched, huh? Discomforting laughter.
Yeah, it's hinted at that this was caused by climate change. But the ocean is now inhabited by mechanical monsters that look like fish of sorts. And as one of the remaining humans alive, this is a simple story. There's no explanation how many humans are left, but you're the captain of a submarine, and it has the occupation of being what's known as a hunter, someone who hunts down the more dangerous mechanical creatures and eliminates them. And you were sent a distress signal to the West Sea, which was part of what was originally apparently Liberty Island, because the Statue of Liberty is in the background for most of the map. And you're to hunt down and get rid of these various monstrosities in the area. In terms of gameplay, you explore a labyrinth of caverns and other caverns and tunnels and whatnot, and all the while you are taking out swarms of smaller enemies while collecting power-ups from them. This is where the
are the power-ups like permanent?
Not permanent. You can lose them when you die, and or if you get hit hard enough as well, or take enough damage.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. These power-ups can stack up to, I think, about 12, I think. What it is that your submarine starts off, of course, with just firing a single bullet. But over time, it can stack up to a maximum of 5 that you shoot in front of you. Yeah, that wouldn't be 12. That'd be 10. Yeah. Yeah. Eventually, you can get where you fire 5 columns of bullets in one direction, well, in front of you, and another 5 behind you,
Okay.
um, allowing you to handle the most of the swarms. But in addition to your powers for your primary gun, you can also acquire sub weapons as well that can allow you to handle various um, other situations. Well, I mean, that may require more of a tactical approach. These are like regular missiles. They just are for extra power, extra attack power that allow you to um, kill enemies faster. There's homing torpedoes. These, as the name hints, can track enemies. There's also a bouncing bomb that is fire and it'll bounce around in the tunnels, and if it hits an enemy, it'll explode. And then there's electrical currents that you can fire and they immediately home in on anything that's nearby. Um, the sub weapons can only be acquired from crates and barrels, and as well as bosses. Like the
And do you get
normal,
those until you get a new one, or can you collect them, or?
you're gonna collect them immediately as long as you find the crates and barrels.
Yeah, but then do you like keep them forever?
No, they're not permanent.
Okay.
Like the normal.
I'm just
power.
curious because I guess what I'm trying to say is it looks like a shmup, and I'm trying to figure out how Metroidvania progression fits into it.
Yeah, I'll get to that in just a little bit here. But yeah, these are not permanent like your normal power ups. You can lose them like your normal power ups if you get hit hard enough or if you die. And when it comes to combat, it's for most part fairly simple, but it gets kind of chaotic at times. You're fighting a near constant swarm of enemies, which is not bad. It keeps exploration from being um, dull or boring, but it can get a little repetitive at times. But it stays interesting for the most part. Um, Before I get to the bosses, I have to mention the mini map they have as well. This is your primary means of navigating the labyrinth of tunnels and caverns. And also one of the few things I have a kind of an issue with as well. Your mini map, it shows you where the sub weapon barrels are, as well as the location of the bosses as well. However, it does not show any walls or indication of tunnels or whatnot. You just have to rely on going in that general direction and hope you can find them. And you pretty much have to memorize the map. It's not entirely bad, but
It doesn't even like fill in as you go or anything.
no, it doesn't fill in as you go.
Huh.
You just have to hope you're going in the right direction, finding the right tunnel to go through, and hope for the best. But yeah, if you can memorize the layout, it isn't too bad. But I'd say some people won't like it. Anyway, now for the bosses. The things you're tasked with hunting down. There are 41 of these things you have to track down, and they appear as you um, more of them appear as you kill groups of them. Like you start off with two, but then over time, as you eliminate them, more like three and then four start appearing in their places in other locations as well.
Are they all different?
And, for the most part, they've been different, but there have been sort of rehashes with somewhat different designs.
So like upgrades
Or,
of the same idea.
yeah, more powerful versions of them. And also more aggressive as well. But yeah, these the battles with these bosses are fairly intense and get really chaotic because they're usually not alone. That's why they've got minions with them that will attack you as well. And they start off not too bad, but of course over time they get more difficult to deal with. And you can leave the room that they're in, their lair, but this comes at the risk of them recovering their health. And you have to go back through the battle again. I'm saying that if you retreat, you're gonna have to come back and find them at full health again.
Like you get to heal up, but they also get to heal up.
Yeah. But yeah, once you kill a boss, a new path will open up, and this will allow you to progress further into the West Sea, and find more rooms and your basic overall goal here is, as I said, there's 41 of these monsters, and you're basically tracking them all down and eliminating them. Yeah. Another issue that comes up with here is that when you die, you lose all but like two of your power-ups, and you're basically going to grind for your power-ups again. At first it isn't too bad, but over time it seems like the power-ups will turn harder to track down.
So are there like so there aren't like permanent navigation based power-ups like in a Metroidvania?
No, there's nothing that can assist you in well, you got your minimap for assisting you in finding the power-ups, but you don't know what
like
you're going to get.
You don't like get a better radar permanent upgrade that lets you detect things more, or a special kind of bomb that lets you blow holes in walls that you couldn't blow holes in before.
No, you don't get anything like that. The Metroidvania aspect is purely the whole labyrinth and freely maneuvering through it and exploring it. And
so it's a little bit Metroidvania, but mostly it's a non-directional, open-ended shmup.
Basically, yeah.
Worlds, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That is an important part of Metroidvania. I was just wondering if there were any other kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's just shmup combined with Metroidvania. You're just exploring a whole map that that's just hunting down monsters. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling now. Anyway, oh yeah, in addition to these monsters that you fight, there are also pirates as well. These are other submarine hunters. Well, I guess you wouldn't say they call them hunters, but there are other submarines like yours as well. And these things are much more aggressive than most of the bosses and stronger as well. And there's no indication of them on the map either. These are basically random encounters that you may or may not come across. And eliminating one of these will actually gain you a new submarine that you can use. That will have other weapons, and like one of them that called the Musashi will get you a ray instead of your normal bullet, and it also has other stats as well. I should mention that as you unlock submarines, each submarine has its own set of stats. Some may have more defense, some may be faster, some may have stronger normal attack. It just depends on the one that you get. Musashi had a higher defense, I believe, but was a little slower, I think, and that's important. Anyway, so what else? There's also after you complete the game, you will gain access to what's called Hunter mode. This is a time trial mode where you have to hunt down bosses and try to eliminate as many of them as possible while going through a labyrinth, of course.
So like the Shadow of Colossus boss rush mode, where the whole game's already basically a boss rush.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got a timer.
Right.
Yeah, this with a timer, basically. But yeah. That's about it for gameplay. I guess I should go to the art and animation.
Yeah, because this game is always one of its significant selling points.
Yeah, it's fairly striking. It looks like a first thing that comes to mind is like a topography map or something like that. At least in the style of.
Yeah, it's
or maybe
like
more something.
It's very sepia toned, and it looks like pen on paper.
Yeah, and it's highly detailed. It's actually quite beautiful. At least in my opinion, it is. Everything's highly detailed.
That was the biggest reason I kind of wanted to pick it up when it came out, and then I forgot. But I still may try to.
Yeah, it's I say it's worth it. Outside of that repetition, it's fairly fun. I mean, yeah, it can get repetitive after a while, but and the grinding for getting your power-ups back can get pretty repetitive as well. I think I already mentioned that. Anyway, overall with the animations, it's good. Like really, the only thing that I can actually think of that were actually animated were outside of some the background. You'll see some things in the background that are moving about like other fish and whatnot. But the only other things that are actually animated are the bosses themselves. They tend to to do repetitive motions and whatnot. That's kind of obvious. So anyway, the music. How? It's peaceful for the most part. Very ambient and calm. Yeah, it's pretty calm ambience. It doesn't really um, it's not distracting or anything like that. Though in some other areas, it changes to something more adventurous, but a more epic feel.
Does it dynamically fade in and out of the more actiony stuff when you're in fights?
No, in the random fights, it doesn't change any. But
just for
when you get into
bosses?
the boss fight, when you get into the bosses, it turns into a more intense, high energy, very giving off more of a feel of something threatening. I guess would be the best way to put it. Of course, it changes from time to time. With certain bosses, we'll have a different song, but it's still generally the same. It gets you into the mood of something of sort of a combat, basically. You know, visual boss music deal. Um, I think I got everything covered. I guess all this left is the price.
The universal price is $15 or $14.99. Like, at least on the consoles and Steam. I'm not exactly sure about iOS.
But yeah, would I say this game's worth it? Worth that price? As I've said before, outside I could possibly get repetitive after a while. I'd say it's a fitting price for it. I should mention it also has like various difficulties as well: easy, normal, hard, and the game can be challenging at times, and it depends on the boss, of course. Overall, it's not that hard of a game.
Here we go. It is $4.99 on the iOS store.
Of course, because no one would ever pay $15 for anything on the iOS store.
That being said, I'm willing to bet the game plays kind of differently on the touchscreen device.
I imagine it would, since of course I haven't played it on iOS. I couldn't say what it's like.
Yes.
But from my experience with the PC version, it plays well. I guess I should have mentioned the controls earlier, but yeah, the controls they work both in terms of mouse and keyboard. I had no issue with either one. It functions well. I say overall, this game's worth it if you're looking for a different kind of Metroidvania. I don't think I've ever heard of any other shmup style of Metroidvanias.
Someone may not go aware of this.
I think the only thing that kind of comes close is Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, but that's still kind of a different style of gameplay.
Yeah.
All right, so anything else on Earth Atlantis?
Nothing else. I guess I'm done.
All right then. So be sure to tune in after the next break, as we'll be reviewing Future Grind.